I'm going to call the January meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board to order. I'm Mark Pattison. I'm the designee for Robert Rodriguez, the chair of the board, and I'll introduce the other members.
Hi, I'm Jill Faber. I'm here for Attorney General Letitia James.
I'm Thomas Fuller, representing Acting Commissioner of Health, Dr. James McDonald.
All right, so thank you. And I don't think I have any particular opening remarks, just a little reminder to folks online to mute your line if you're not speaking, because sometimes we'll get feedback. I will try to make sure that we attend to folks online when we need to. And we're in regular order. All board members are present, so there's no other particular.
Well, we did notice the meeting following the procedures for extraordinary circumstances, but we did have all members appear and are present in a location open to the public.
Fortunately, circumstances got less extraordinary.
Excellent.
Well, okay. So if there's no other opening comments, I'll take up the minutes of the previous meeting, which were distributed to the board. Does anybody have any questions or changes to the minutes as distributed?
None here.
All right. So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting, the December meeting, as distributed.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Our counsel, Rob, do you have any legislation or regulations to report on?
I distributed the legislative report prior to the meeting. I just want to note that A 382, allowing for natural organic production in New York, was signed by the governor. The governor included a signing statement noting that there will be a chapter amendment to address some technical issues, and that also in her signing statement she wrote she is directing the Department of State and Department of Health to evaluate how to best ensure this process is offered to New Yorkers effectively and justly. And I intend to submit a program bill to the legislature in the upcoming legislative session that enables others besides cemetery corporations to offer NOR in New York. Beyond that, any questions on the legislative report?
Any questions about the legislative report?
Okay. My understanding is that the Department of State will publish its 2023 regulatory agenda soon. And of course, Division and I have been in discussions about possible regulations for natural organic production.
Which, among other topics, we briefed the board on in non-public session last month. Once it's published, obviously this will be a matter of public record, and the next step will be to figure out of the things we've put out there, which are going to be priorities.
That's the regulatory agenda.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have nothing further, but if anyone has any questions. Okay.
All right. Division report, Lewis?
So I'm going to go a little out of order here. I distributed number 2 was the cemeteries at risk of abandonment report. I distributed that yesterday. I was waiting on some last bit of information, which I got. It's available on the website, so I'm not going to read it. But let's just say there are on the, just counting here. Typo in it, unfortunately, but that's okay. There are 13 cemeteries listed there as at risk of abandonment, of which 3 or 4 are already well in process of becoming a town responsibility. We're working on determinations as to whether those in fact are abandoned within the meaning of the statute, were voluntarily conveyed to the town, or possibly something else. The remaining 9 we are working with to see whether, actually one of those, which we found out about after the fact, we're working to see whether it's possible for the lot owners to continue operating it. This will also be the last. This also is essentially a summary report. There's about 16 cemeteries. There's about 16 cemeteries on the list that where we successfully facilitated special lot owners meetings, or in 1 or 2 cases, they didn't even need that. They're just meetings with the board and prevented abandonment. For
In addition to the 13 that are
right. It's a separate list. I've been giving 2 lists at risk of abandonment and successes. When we do this again in March, unless there's something we need to update you on in the interim, April, unless there's something we need to update you on in the interim, I'll have wiped the slate clean of the successes and just focus on ones from the calendar year of 2023. The only new stuff, only completely new cemetery in the report that you haven't seen before is Maple Crest in Greene County. The trustees purported to abandon the cemetery to the town. I'm using their words. We're trying to figure out exactly what the situation is, whether the cemetery actually could continue to exist, whether in the sense of having money on board, and what the best options are. We're working on that now. That's the only one that hasn't been out there before. Two, both in Western New York are scheduled for meetings later this month, where hopefully we will be able to identify new trustees and allow them to continue.
So, does the board have any questions with that? I'm just not sure, it's data, so that's, a number of cemeteries that are in some form of distress. Fortunately, more than half, we are able to prevent from abandonment at this point.
Right.
I don't know, Bruce, do you take anything other larger from that in terms of things that we should do or things that the board, what are there takeaways from the 20-something number?
I would say the biggest takeaway is that the process of preventing abandonment that's now codified in our regulations, which is more or less the process we were using before, has a certain amount of success. And that by early-ish intervention with the town, with the cemetery's board members, and with their help, other local notables, we are able to help some of these cemeteries keep going. I'll also point out the next steps, which appear in some of these, are some of cemeteries run into trouble partly because their boards, to use a very technical legal term, don't know what they're doing. There's no reason they should. They're volunteers. They're typically volunteers who typically don't have much background or time to devote. And one of the things we're doing, which we're going to try to do before the fact more as well, but one of the things we've been doing is when we have a successful reorganization, now you really have people who don't know what they're doing because they're new to the job, and we've been scheduling essentially what we call Cemetery 101 sessions, where an accountant and investigator go out and meet with the board and walk through with them through the basics of running a cemetery, to some extent the basics of running a small business.
Question, that sounds great. Would it also be helpful, do you think, for those brand new boards, in terms of outreach and education, to do like a, not-for-profit corporation law, obligations 101, how does a not-for-profit board, conduct its business, consistent with the very, basic, rules as far as meetings being noticed and minutes and things, because those are the kinds of things that they probably don't know either.
If we look, I don't see how it could hurt.
Yeah.
If we can coordinate with one of your regional reps to do it all at once, that's great. We do cover the absolute very basics of related party transactions, which is probably the most common thing they see. Alicia, do they talk about 990s as well?
990s, the subject of them being registered with the IRS
Right.
as a official not-for-profit is usually brought up during an audit, so we would bring it up during
So
if you think it would be helpful to coordinate, to have, an AG's very, very basic 101 charities component with that.
where it would be, I think it might be more effective in terms of bang for your buck, is if we schedule some regional, the things we're talking about, schedule some regional meetings and invite all the cemeteries there and have your charities regional rep for that. I'm not sure the level of meeting with individual new boards is the best use of your office's
Yeah,
time.
no, I meant like creating some training materials or
Yeah, if we could have
to
some
do that,
pamphlets
that could
and
be
things like that.
used. But also, if you
How about-
wanted to, we can talk offline.
No, I mean,
but
one,
think
one thing we've been talking about for a while, and Alicia's done some of this, is a recording module that's available on our website. If you guys could record a not-for-profits 101 and put it on your website and we can link to it, that would be a big thing. But I think having someone from the AG appear in person at a regional
Yeah.
cemetery 101 session would be great.
I think that's a really good idea.
Well, I've answered the question in part, and those are great conversations, and the question is sort of what's the level of stress to the industry, so to speak, and I don't know if there's a trend or whatever. We should look at this as not just a report of successes and failures, but indications of, broader things. And we're not the only game in town. We have partners with NYSAC. I know that we can coordinate some of that with Anxious later. Maybe we can talk to address that.
I think I don't think you can dispute that the pressures of abandonment only continue to increase. That doesn't necessarily in every year translate into more abandonments in that year. But the combination of, inflation is worse on things that are the cemetery's main costs, labor and fuel. It's hard for them to get people, both in terms of employees and in terms of volunteers. And with increasing cremation rates, there are fewer people doing full body burials, which results in reduced revenue. Put all that together, and none of that's getting any better.
Let's keep thinking about the data that we get from you and the activities that we're engaged in terms of broader outreach to cemeteries and support for cemeteries. So thank you. That's a good report, and I'm happy to see the 16 successful. We are fully, and not quite fully, almost fully staffed now. So I think that makes a big difference in terms of our capacity to be more supportive of cemeteries.
And a special recognition to our Western New York staff. We've had really good success in the past in preventing abandonments in Western New York. We have a completely new set of characters, with the exception of Cindy Craig, who's still with us part-time. So I was worried that with a new set of characters, we might not have the same level of success we've had, but that hasn't been the case. And the new team is doing just as well as the old team at saving the cemetery, so that's great.
All right. Thank you.
I had natural organic production on my list of things to cover, but Rob's already covered it. Delegated duties, Alicia will get to in a second, but I have one thing that was not here because I didn't know we'd have it done in time. On Friday, we issued a new version of the cremation authorization. The main impetus behind this was that our cremation authorization had a gender binary on it. You had to check male or female. State law requires there to be a third option, so we had to revise it to add that third option. While we were doing that, we tightened up some of the language in various ways to make it, to get at more what we meant and or give better information. It's not a major rewrite by any stretch of the imagination. We've gotten a couple of comments about certain aspects of the form, one of which we've already fixed. Whose fill-in boxes didn't work properly on one page, so we fixed that. We've had a couple of suggestions, one from NYSAC about describing the container for the remains, one from the funeral directors saying that we should go back to having the name of the deceased on every page of the form, as opposed to just on the first page, and one expressing a little bit of confusion about, we tried to recast the language about picking up remains to try to encourage families to pick up remains and specify who that would be, both because we think finding a final resting place for remains is objectively a good thing, and because neither crematories nor funeral homes want to have remains in their basements, because that's a bad thing. But in revising that language, I think we could have been a little bit tighter on exactly what it means and how to fill it out. So we are looking at that. It's not gonna, put it this way, I don't think we need to change that any more than we already have, but there might be a way of tweaking it to fix it. And we're gonna have some more conversations about that. Again, this was not a major rewrite to begin with, and we're talking about even more minor possible changes as a result of people's experience with actually using the new form.
Delegated duties or other?
So these are delegated duties other than the approving of columbariums and retorts. So it's rate applications, rules and regs, lot reclamations, net appreciation. And main activity is in service fee rate changes. So we received 363 throughout the course of 2022, and we approved 344. And rules and regulations, we received 45 and we've approved 39.
Is that report distributed to the board or just
Excuse me?
that report available to the board?
It was posted on
Posted.
our website.
Anything else from the division? Okay. Anybody have any questions of Liz?
Actually, I should have specifically said we did not approve any delegated columbarium or retort replacements since we last met.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the vandalism report.
So we have paid out in cash of the $2 million appropriation approximately $700,000. So we're nearing the end of the fiscal year, so I am going to be working with fiscal to make sure that we pay out more of that money. But we've promised the whole $2 million
Yes.
plus, but it just hasn't been paid out in cash because of the 25% initial payment. And again, we're still about 40% on online reports. We've received 1,472, 576 were online. The new reports are coming in for 2022. A bunch of them online, I'd say maybe 10, 15 online so far, so it's good.
One wrinkle for people who are filing, who have certificates of indebtedness or land share certificates, we do not yet have a paper form for filing about those. We have only an online form. So if you really insist on waiting for paper, you're going to have to wait. But we would strongly encourage you to file online instead for those, especially because these are all larger cemeteries that have the ability to figure out the online form.
The only thing that's on the online annual report is a checkbox saying you have
Oh
that.
wait,
that
the
it
form's
directs
not
you
there
to-
yet?
The
I thought-
form that directs you to go to our website to get the form.
I thought we had. All right, scratch that. Just if you've got certificates, hold
Yes,
off on filing.
Stay tuned, we will have the
Yes.
form in the near future.
But I think the other point you were trying to make is the online filing is an advantage to everyone if you can do it.
Absolutely.
There's no reason that a medium or large cemetery shouldn't be filing online.
Even many of the small ones.
And we will be glad to help
Sure.
folks do that. Okay, so we have one application for the vandalism fund. It's a dangerous monument application from Jacksonville Cemetery in Onondaga County in the amount of $35,368.64. And before I ask that to be presented, anybody questions of Alicia about the vandalism report? Any of that? No. Can someone present to us the application?
This is Mike Steelman from the division.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Rural Cemetery has applied for repair of 31 monuments that they deemed hazardous. I went out, I looked at the monuments, and each one did appear as though it created a hazardous situation. They ran their ad in the paper, the Baldwinsville Messenger for 3 weeks. They did not receive any reply. They do not have records for the lot owners. The most recent of these monuments is from 1922. So the division is, our understanding is that they have determined that they cannot locate those lot owners. They got 2 estimates to make the repair with 42-inch foundations and a 10-year warranty. And I've recommended approval in the amount of $35,368.64.
Anybody have any questions of Mike's presentation of the application? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the application from Jacksonville Cemetery, Onondaga County, for the vandalism fund, dangerous monuments, in the amount of $35,368.64, depending on the availability of funds. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rob didn't have to hit me. All right.
I was standing at the ready.
You were,
You preempted it.
yeah, I was trying to, fear works. Okay, we have another application for a replacement from Frederick Brothers Crematory.
Mike?
Yeah, this is Mike Seelman again. Frederick's Brothers Crematory is a standalone crematory located in the town of Theresa, Jefferson County. They currently have 2 Crawford cremation units. One's in 1984 and one is in 1991. They did 484 cremations in 2020, 462 in 2021. They're looking to replace the 1984 Crawford unit with a new Keller Manufacturing KMH 1100 cremation unit. It's more efficient. It'll bring them into compliance with the new DEC regulation. It's not as a standalone crematory, they do not have columbarium or graves or lot owners or anything like that. The unit's going to go in the same area that the old unit is taken out of. There's going to be a minimal disruption in service. And one of the things I'll point out is they did not include the stamped engineer plans with the application, and I actually spoke to someone from Keller Manufacturing about an hour and a half ago, and they said that they will have those plans ready if we require them. We have the plans, we have the drawing, it's included as one of the exhibits, however, it's just not stamped, but they have the stamped plan that they can provide us. The total cost of this major renovation is $107,026. And I've recommended it.
Council,
Yeah, I have 2 points. Thanks, Mark. First, I concur with the division that the financing for this proposed transaction is arguably a related party transaction. Page 73 and 74 of the packet are the board minutes in which the cemetery's board, without conflicted numbers, considered a loan from a bank at 7% interest over 5 years instead of a 6% loan over 2 years from Jeffrey Frederick, the related party. The minutes indicate that at the time that board met, Jeffrey Frederick had already personally paid $47,500 to Keller Manufacturing, so it looks like that happened before the board meeting. They did subsequently, the cemetery and Jeffrey Frederick signed an amortization schedule, which is at page 60, for the repayment of that $47,500. And as Mike brought up, there's no engineer certification. Subdivision E of section 200-116 requires a report submitted for a major alteration expected to cost in excess of $25,000 shall be certified by a licensed engineer.
Do you have any concerns based on what you just described relative to the related party transaction and the board's deliberation? Do you have any concerns that that wasn't sufficient?
It doesn't look like it occurred beforehand. It looks like that meeting occurred primarily due to the intervention of the division, the great intervention of the division. They did not have a conflict of interest policy. They did not have conflict of interest disclosures on an annual basis. They were not following, to my knowledge, based upon this application, any part of not-for-profit corporation law 715 or 715A. It looks like since the division's intervention, they did have a meeting where they did consider alternatives as to whether or not, bank at 7% over 5 years versus related party transaction over 2 years at 6% are viable alternatives. I couldn't comment or opine on that. It does look like the cemetery, according to our financial report, is going to have the funds to repay those amounts. And in terms of, I guess, the interaction or control that related party has over the crematory, I don't think that this financing arrangement increases it in any substantive way.
So in essence, it sounds like what you're saying is they've retroactively addressed the
Yes.
concerns.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? No, I think the question is whether we want to approve it, and if we approve it, do we make a contingent on receipt of stamped drawings from the engineer?
We've already received. Mike's already gotten them.
Not the stamped drawings. They're not stamped, but
Oh, right, they're sending? Mike,
if they need
Yeah,
them, if they need them, they'll provide
I do-
them, right?
I do not have them. They said they can provide them today.
okay, that's right.
So, I don't know, I would make a motion to approve the application of Frederick Brothers Crematory for a retort replacement with the contingency that we receive the stamped plans from the engineer. Is there anything else I should add? Have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion that needs to be had? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. That concludes our regular business. Our next cemetery board meeting is scheduled for February
14th.
14th, I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's a mistake in the agenda, it's for the fourth.
What's the date?
February
Second.
14th.
I thought so, because I told somebody was doing that.
I wear a red tie.
Are we in the executive session? No need for any other session, so I'll move to public comment. Is there anyone online that would like to address the board on any matters before us or other matters of the cemetery board? I don't hear any. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the board? Yeah.
Sure. David Fleming from the New York State Association of Cemeteries. Really appreciate the conversation today about the intervention and helping cemeteries that are in danger of abandonment, something that NYSAC has been working on for a long time. We are scheduling a series of regionals this year, post-pandemic, so thankfully we'll be able to be back out on the field, doing regional events again, and certainly would welcome participation with any of our regulators who wanted to be involved in that process. I know that for the division staff, they know that particularly Western and Central New York, we get a huge turnout at these events of all people who really need to hear from regulators. I think Oneonta in particular, I think we get almost 100 people that show up at that event.
Yeah, but that's because of the Price Chopper and Sydney donuts.
The donuts are very good, and so is the cider. But we have a really good group of mostly small cemeteries.
Do you have dates for those scheduled?
We have
already?
those,
Not yet.
not yet,
So
but
please
we'll,
share them with me when you.
absolutely, we're happy to work with you guys in doing that. And Division's always been very good about providing some fundamentals and changes in statute. I think it's very helpful to a lot of these folks that we can't get to. And who are not computer savvy, so have limited ability to get some quick information from everyone. There was also some comments on legislation and regulation. If with the board's indulgence, I just need a minute. On behalf of the association, I just want to go over some past history and how it relates to today. I've been around long enough to remember the early 90s when there were hearings in the legislature, as well as reports out of New York City about a whole number of concerns about chain funeral homes coming into New York, buying cemeteries, and the cross-marketing of services, and the combinations of cemeteries and funeral homes. And that went on for quite a while till there was Chapter 560 of 1998, which prohibits as the anti-combination statute. And what that also did was enshrine in legislation, from the perspective of the association, monopolies that are not in the best interest of consumers in the state of New York. And that statute has been taken advantage of a number of times since 1998 for-profit entities who have tried to weasel into anti-consumer sections of final disposition. This creates a tremendous amount of concern for cemeteries who have been relegated to despite their public trust and the requirements to be quasi-government agencies and nonprofits that serve an important part of New York's death care system, to have almost no revenue streams associated with their survival. The discussions we had today about preventing cemetery abandonment were magnified in 1998 with the anti-combination statute, and since then have been magnified by the efforts of for-profit entities, and in many cases out-of-state chains, who are trying to establish themselves to the detriment of even for-profit mom-and-pop operations in the state of New York, to get into final disposition. That was clear in this past legislative session when we talked about natural organic reduction. It's certainly clear in the approval memo for natural organic reduction. What I've seen in suggestions which have been rejected by the legislature, not just in committee, but on the floor of the legislature, efforts by people who try to claim that natural organic reduction and other forms of final disposition are not final disposition. And respectfully, the association would assert that you can call a cow a chicken 20 times in a bill, it's still not a chicken. And from this perspective, efforts by entities to allow for-profit entities to invade the very few options available to cemeteries to actually operate and be successful are a direct attack, frankly, on the consumers of the state of New York. So we're deeply concerned. In that regard, on behalf of the association, I'd like the State Cemetery Board to review their regulations, particularly 201.6, which is the prohibition of cemeteries from selling vaults in New York. It's another example of how for-profit entities have taken advantage of the regulatory system and have prevented cemeteries from selling a product that's essentially the same as a product they're already selling, which is binders. That has been reviewed by the board before, and respectfully, I'd like the board to take a look at that regulation and see if there's the possibility of at least repeal of that section. So we enjoy working with the partnership that we've had with the State Cemetery Board on a number of issues going forward. The comments that I'm making today really relate to outside this room and things that are going on, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. The association, obviously is made up of nonprofit boards. Many of them have many other things that are going on in their lives. Providing this community service as members of a cemetery board is important to them, but they also don't have the political clout and muscle to be able to assert how important what they do is for the people of the state of New York, and frankly, that doesn't get through many times. And I would just state here publicly that it is the association's position that will not continue as far as they're concerned, that they're going to be incredibly forceful in this upcoming session as we deal with these very important issues. Thank you.
Right. Right. So we'll certainly take your request under advisement, and it's beginning of the year. I have asked the Division of Cemeteries to, begin their review of strategic operating plans. We certainly welcome, in the context, sort of broadly thinking about the state of the industry, things that we should be thinking about doing, and welcome your input on that, in addition to your request about reviewing these recommendations. So we do know that we're dealing with a very diverse group of constituents, lots of commitment, diversity of skills, diversity of size, which complicates the way we provide services, but we want to provide them in the most effective way possible. So certainly welcome any input we have on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments?
Just have a question. So the association, you make a written request, or
With regard to regulation?
Yeah.
Yes,
Or-
sure. This was just advising you and you'll be receiving it.
Great. Okay, any other comments from members of the board? Then we have a short meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion to
Adjourn. Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all.